guys, what's going on? It's MassiveJoes RAW review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome raw review for the viewers at home today on a very unique new supplement from a new supplement brand. That brand is Bare Performance Nutrition, aka BPN. And this raw review is on their all new Nootropic / fat burning supplement in focus in the house. Let's get straight into it, show you guys exactly what's in it and tell you exactly what it's going to do. That nutritional information panel ain't going to get it done. We're about to go balls deep in this here BPN in focus. Fortunately, got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel for the viewers at home. Dilip, go ahead and throw that panel up on the screen. Starting at the top, a serving size, 1 scoop, 2.3 grams. Now, I do have to just disclaim straight from the top, this nutritional panel that we're working with is for the mango flavor. It does also come in another flavor. We'll get to that in a second, but that other flavor, the serving size is a little bigger because there's more flavorings used, more artificial sweeteners and flavorings and colors and other non-active ingredients used. But we're going to focus on the mango flavor. Serving size, 1 scoop at 2.3 grams. Got yourself about 50 of them 1 scoop at 2.3 gram bitches. And one of these BPN in focus bitches. In terms of what the 2.3 grams is made up of, if we do a quick summation and we add up all of the active ingredients, because BPN have been so kind as to provide full disclosure on each and every ingredient and the dosage that is in every scoop of this BPN in focus, we can quickly discover that there's 1.2 grams of actives in each and every scoop, which is 52% active ingredients on the mango flavor, which leaves 48% flavors, sweeteners, colors, stabilizers, and things that aren't active ingredients in the mango, and slightly more in the other flavor because they use more flavors, sweeteners, and other bits and pieces that aren't active in that other flavor. In terms of what the 1.2 grams of actives is made up of, starting from the top, we've got L-tyrosine in a 500 milligram dose. L-tyrosine, a nootropic amino acid, a precursor to L-dopa, which in itself is a precursor to the neurotransmitters dopamine, noradrenaline, and adrenaline. It's going to help improve cognition in the presence of stress in particular. Clinical dose, 500 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams. It's towards the lower end of that dose, but still sufficient. Moving right along, we then get into green coffee extract, standardized for 50% chlorogenic acid in a 250 milligram dose. So we're dealing with 125 milligrams of chlorogenic acid. Chlorogenic acid responsible for reducing the release of glucose into the bloodstream. It's going to help regulate your blood sugar levels, stabilize insulin release as a result of that, and also help suppress appetite. The clinical dose is 50 to 100 milligrams of chlorogenic acid. We've got 125 chlorogenic acid, so I would go so far as to say it's overdosed. Moving right along, we then get into caffeine, the anhydrous type of caffeine in a 150 milligram dose. Caffeine, of course, a central nervous system stimulant, going to enhance physical energy, reduce fatigue, and boost psychological performance. The clinical dose for caffeine, or the most efficacious dose, it depends on the usage. Let's be honest, I've got down here 200 to 300 milligrams, but everyone's caffeine tolerance is different. Let's just say that there's 150 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous in each and every scoop of this in focus. Moving right along, we then get into one of my favorite nootropic ingredients, mucuna in a 150 milligram dose, which has been standardized for 98% L-dopa. Now, I just want to point out that most mucuna extracts that you see in supplements these days are standardized for 15% L-dopa. So 98% standardization is a huge standardization of L-dopa, and it means that we're getting like 147 milligrams of L-dopa from this mucuna pruriens extract, which is unheard of. Never seen it before in a supplement to go 98% L-dopa. Of course, Macronutrient yields naturally occurring L-DOPA. L-DOPA crosses the blood-brain barrier where it acts as a precursor. Similar to L-tyrosine, to the neurotransmitters dopamine, noradrenaline, and adrenaline, is going to help increase mental focus. Also, going to increase mood and your feeling of well-being through the way that dopamine works as a neurotransmitter. Clinical dose for L-DOPA is 40 to 80 milligrams, anywhere in between there. As I mentioned, we've got like around 140 something milligrams, so it is a huge dose of L-DOPA. Moving right along, we then get into Coleus forskolin in a 125 milligram dose. It's standardized for 20% forskolin. Forskolin, one of my favorite fat loss ingredients, is going to increase your cellular level of cyclic adenosine monophosphate, also known as CAMP, which is going to help increase the power of your heartbeat, widen blood vessels, and therefore decrease blood pressure. Really good ingredient to help increase the rate of fat loss. One of my favorite all-time fat loss ingredients, viewers at home. In fact, between the forskolin and the Macronutrients, two of my favorite ingredients for different purposes. Macronutrients for the nootropic effect, forskolin for the fat loss effect. But two of my all-time favorite ingredients in this BPN In Focus. In terms of the clinical dose of forskolin, we're looking for 25 milligrams. We've got 125 milligrams of Coleus forskolin standardized at 20%, which hits bang on that 25 milligram clinical dose. So we would go so far as to say it's perfectly dosed. Moving right along, we finally then have synephrine HCl, synephrine hydrochloride, in a 25 milligram dose, aka bitter orange extract. Synephrine has a stimulatory effect that's going to increase heart rate, increase thermogenesis, lipolysis, and metabolic rate, a very common stimulant used in a lot of fat loss formulas. The efficacious dose for synephrine is 20 to 50 milligrams. We have 25 milligrams, so we would go so far as to say that it is very well dosed. Got yourself about 48 or more % of flavors, sweeteners, colors, stabilizers, and all other things that are not active ingredients. And that's what's in it. So I mentioned at the start of the Raw review that we're dealing with a unique supplement here, viewers at home, from Bare Performance Nutrition from BPN. And the reason why it's unique is because it's half a nootropic mental focus booster, as the name would suggest, in focus, and it's half a fat loss supplement. It's really trying to tick a couple of boxes at the same damn time. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, here, there you go. It does even say on the label, if I can get some zoom and focus action, please. No, I can't. There, yes, I can. It says energy, thermogenesis, and focus. So they're really kind of taking a very unique stance. I've never seen a supplement that's trying to tackle nootropic and fat loss at the same time. A lot of fat loss supplements will have like nootropic type ingredients in there to increase your mood and your feeling of well-being when you're in the caloric deficit and you feel like shit. But no supplement has kind of gone like straight down the line 50-50 like this BPN In Focus has. If you look at kind of what it's missing, it becomes quite difficult to critique, because arguably, if you're looking at it from a nootropic perspective, it's missing ingredients like huperzine A, choline is a big one that's missing. If you look at it from a fat loss perspective, there's nothing really in there for pure thermogenesis like a Capsimax or a Capsiatra. There's no fat metabolizer, a carnitine and acetyl L-carnitine, an L-carnitine L-tartrate, and there's nothing specifically for lipolysis apart from synephrine like a HCA or a CLA. So you can kind of, you can nitpick and say, if they went down one path, they should have included these ingredients, or if they went down that path, they should have included these ingredients. But the fact of the matter is, they've included a bit of both, and you kind of just have to take it for what it is. In terms of how it tastes, how it mixes, comes in two flavors. Comes in mango, as you guys know, because that's the nutritional panel that we just discussed. Comes in raspberry lemonade. I have myself my personal tub, which is, I've tried both flavors, but at the moment I'm going with the mango. So that is the tub that we're gonna drop the infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test on right now. Shit, I've got powder going all over the damn place. Look at it. There we go. Got my mango. Got my infamous MassiveJoes double wall glass going on right here. I'm going to take a scoop of this In Focus. And the first thing you guys will notice, as you could probably see, is I just blew the remnants of whatever was left off the top of my tub of In Focus, is that the powder is, it's a very fine powder. Really, really fine. So I'm gonna take a scoop and I'm gonna show you guys real quick what we're dealing with right here. So check this out. Let me get some zoom and focus on here. And let me it's almost like, I don't really know how to, it's almost like a chalk powder. Very, very fine powder, which is going to pay dividends when it comes to how it mixes in particular. So infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test about to go down. Just going to drop one scoop of this BPN In Focus in this bitch. And let it rain, let it rain. A few flicks of the wrist with a spoon in a glass. I'm going to show you guys how it mixes. And then refresh my memory on how this mango In Focus tastes. All right, that's enough. So as you guys can see, it mixes, I wouldn't say well, I'd say quite uniquely. It's kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, but you can kind of see that it doesn't really dissolve in water too well. And you can probably see like a bunch of those active ingredients already starting to settle down the bottom. So I'm just gonna leave it on the table here for a second. Because one thing that you will notice, if I just give it a few seconds and kind of pad this out with a little bit of talking shit, is that the active ingredients do settle down to the bottom. So that's probably enough for, yeah, there you go. So you can see that already, is that the active ingredients do settle down towards the bottom. So even though even though it's such a small serving size, and even though I didn't bring a TMJ Elite shaker in, I really have no choice but to say that blender ball is required. For this here BPN In Focus, I mean, you can mix it obviously in a glass with a spoon, as I've just done, but if you don't drink it right away, you're gonna have to like mix it up again to try and get those active ingredients somehow to go into solution, or at least get them kind of mixed with water so that you can get it down. In terms of how it tastes, let me refresh my memory on how this mango tastes, man. They've done a really good job. And really, they should have done a good job because they're dealing with almost 50% flavors, colors, sweeteners, and non-active ingredients. So I'm happy that they've done a good job. The flavors are good. They're not too sweet. They're not too flavorsome. They both do have, definitely, there's like a chalky, earthy, kind of undertone to them, which is, a bunch of a couple of the active ingredients in particular, mucuna and the green coffee extract are probably responsible for that. But the actual flavor itself is really quite a good flavor. They have kind of nailed the flavors that they're going for too. The mango really tastes like a natural mango flavor. And the raspberry lemonade really does taste like a raspberry flavor, with that kind of lemonade-y sweetness to it as well. So the flavors, they've definitely done a great job. Just keep in mind that you are going to get that kind of sedimentation sitting down the bottom, and they are both going to have that kind of chalky, dusty, dry, earthy type undertone to them. If I had to rank the flavors, as you guys can probably see, my personal tub at the moment is mango. That's the one I prefer. But I also, I get down with the raspberry lemonade as well, man. I can't really fault it in terms of the effects. Because that's what you're taking this shit for, viewers at home. That is what you are taking this shit for. From a nootropic, because I'm going to have to talk about both sides. I'm going to have to talk about nootropic and fat loss. From a nootropic perspective, it's a very good mental focus supplement. Very, very good. and I've tried a lot of them, and this In Focus is definitely one of my favorites. The reason why I like it as a mental focus supplement is because it has a massive dose of L-Dopa. So in terms of actual mental focus, feeling of well-being and mood, nothing really comes close to it on the market just because it has so much L-Dopa in there. And you really feel that, like you take your In Focus and you feel great. Like you feel $1 million. It's really the effect on mood and well-being is like no other supplement that I've tried, especially because the stimulant content is relatively quite low, which is something I also really like about this supplement. You're only dealing with 150 milligrams of caffeine, 25 milligrams of synephrine, whereas most nootropic supplements, most mental focus supplements will have like upwards of 300 milligrams of caffeine plus some other stimulants in there. So they're almost kind of trying to confuse you with the nootropic effect with just a stimulatory effect. Whereas BPN hasn't done that here. They've said, look, we're going to let the nootropic effect speak for itself, and it does. And then we're going to add a little bit of stimulant in there just to give you, you know, the nice stimulant effect as well. But I really, really like it as a nootropic supplement. The energy that you get on it is really quite good and quite clean as well, because it doesn't have a stupid amount of stimulants. So it's not like it's going to throw you up real high and then drop you, really, really low after when you get a bit of a crash. In terms of the fat loss aspect of it, it is missing a lot of fat loss ingredients. And I think if you do want to take it as a fat loss supplement, as a bare minimum, you're going to have to stack it with a fat metabolizer. Like a Creation Supplements AlkaPure, for example, would be a great stack, to boost up the fat loss properties. From a fat loss perspective, it does have some cool ingredients that are properly dosed, but I just don't think that it's a fat loss supplement. And really, I mean, BPN have done the right thing. They haven't marketed it as a fat loss supplement. It's called In Focus. You know, they're marketing it as, here's a nootropic supplement that does also have the benefit of assisting with fat loss if you're in a caloric deficit, and that is your particular health and fitness goal at this point in time. The one thing I will say from a fat loss perspective is it's a very good appetite suppressant. And I think that that's probably a combination of the chlorogenic acid in here, which is in itself an appetite suppressant, combined with the massive dose of L-Dopa, which just makes you feel good, so you don't feel like eating because you just feel good, also the stimulatory effect. Even though it's not that pronounced, you still have the stimulants which naturally stunt your appetite as well. So I will say that from a fat loss perspective, a very good appetite suppressant. But apart from that, you do need to stack it with other fat loss ingredients if you're taking it primarily as a fat burner. In terms of the side effects, none that we've experienced here at MassiveJoes. Very, very side effect free type supplement. The low stimulant content definitely has a lot to do with that. In terms of stackability, the ingredients that I mentioned that it was missing, both from a nootropic and a fat loss perspective, obviously you can stack it with any of those types of ingredients. I wouldn't be stacking it with another stimulant-based fat loss, just because you can end up doing too much caffeine or too many stimulants. So if you wanted to stack it from a fat loss perspective, the Creation Supplements AlkaPure, maybe a CLA, maybe a HCA, maybe a Capsiatra, a CapsiMax, or a thermogenic supplement of that sort, or maybe just another non-stim fat burner, it's going to stack quite well with. The final thing I will say is the value for money on this BPN In Focus is ridiculous. Both from a fat loss perspective and from a nootropic perspective. In the Australian market, you're dealing at $69.95, so $70 for 50 serves, which breaks it down at $1.40 per serve. It is, I mean, from a nootropic perspective, most nootropics are up around $2 per serve. So it's literally more than 25% better value for money than most nootropics. From a fat loss perspective, it's also very, very good value for money, especially considering that you don't double scoop it, like at all, ever. And the things that you're stacking it with are going to be quite quite cheap as well, quite good on the value for money. It's got the expensive ingredients already in this, this BPN In Focus. So guys, if you're in the market for a very, very nice nootropic supplement with some added fat loss benefit properties, or you're in the market for like a base stimulant fat burner that you can kind of create your own fat loss stack from, you have to give yourself some of this BPN In Focus a shot. Guys, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn your post notifications on, both on your mobile and your desktop PC, so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. And guys, that is MassiveJoes RAW review on the all-new BPN In Focus in the house. And I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Stay